I thought I was installing a simple aluminium sliding door. It would have been quick, easy and pretty cheap, but Jules had other ideas. She found these old recycled French doors on Marketplace and once again sent me on a wild goose chase to a random house to buy the old doors. What started as a straightforward door installation turned into building a custom French door entrance with side lights completely from scratch, and that meant solving a whole series of problems I wasn't expecting. In this video, I'll take you through some of the biggest challenges I faced on this project and the lessons I learned along the way. A lot of them came from working with recycled materials, and some simple decisions turned into much bigger jobs than I expected. Like trying to make a mortice lock from Marketplace work with an existing checkout in these rebated recycled French doors. I'll go into more detail about how I made that all work with a DIY rebate section later in the video. Then, in the next video, I'll show you exactly how I built this custom door frame with side lights and weather seals from scratch. I'll include all the steps, drawings and details so you can build your own and learn from my headaches and mistakes. The first challenge of the project was the frame itself. Because we wanted side lights on both sides of the doors, I couldn't just build a standard frame. The centre jambs needed to do two jobs at once. They had to hold the glass side lights, but they also had to be strong enough to carry the weight of these oversized French doors. As soon as I started ripping the timbers, I messed up the first section of the frame as it was difficult to hold the timber upright and square, so we clamped an extra guide to the table saw, and this helped us run the timbers through the table saw straight. Cutting each section of the French door frames to accept the weather seals is a fair bit more work, but the payoff is better weather protection, fewer bugs getting inside, less draft coming through the gaps, and no annoying door rattle every time the wind picks up. The next challenge was the doors themselves. These weren't brand new doors, fresh from a factory. These were old recycled French doors measuring over 2.3 meters high, slightly bowed and not perfectly square. So to make the doors work, I had to square them up and then cut them with a circular saw and finish them off with a planer. This then allows me to be able to rebate the sill and head sections of the frames to suit the old recycled doors. Once the frame sections were cut to length and size, the next important step was to transfer the hinge setout from the doors onto the frames. I've been using this story rod technique for about 15 years. So what I do is transfer the hinge positions from the door and onto a story rod. I then transfer and mark the positions from the story rod onto the frame with the required gaps. I also need to check that everything still works with the hinges and the setout with the weather seals. For this project, I had to use two different story rods, as each of these recycled French doors had a different hinge setout that were just slightly different to each other by a few mils. I mark out the hinge positions on the rebated jambs with a sharp blade and chisel, and this got me thinking, is there a better way to mark and cut hinge locations on rebated jambs? Let me know if you know any better techniques in the comments. The next challenge I faced was figuring out how to get the cladding to finish neatly into the French door frame while still maintaining a good weather seal. Because I wanted the frame to finish flush with the VJ lining on the inside and the French doors to open outwards, I needed extra support on the outside for the cladding to finish against and seal into. What I decided on was installing a poly flushing around the outside of the door frame and sealing it back to the frame with Sikaflex. I then added a thicker timber architrave around the frame, which ended up serving a few different purposes. It created a nice detail around the French doors, providing the correct stop for the cladding while leaving an 8mm quirk detail. This also created an additional weather barrier once sealed and fixed to the frame. Finally, this Architrave also gave the head flashing something solid to sit over. Sometimes one small detail can end up solving several problems at once. The next challenge was getting the French doors ready to lock up, which meant installing the glass into the side lights before the mortise locks went in. I started by painting the frame and ordering the glass to suit into the rebated openings with the required spaces. Once it arrived, I borrowed a pair of glass suction lifters, cut a few temporary packers, ran a bead of silicone around the rebates and carefully lifted each pane into place. I then fixed a few temporary timber blocks around the glass to hold everything securely while the silicone cured. The proper timber glazing beads would be installed later once I had a bit more time, and to be honest, this was one part of the project that went surprisingly smoothly. After a few challenges getting to this point, it was nice to have one job come together exactly as planned. Then came the next headache, the existing mortise lock cutouts. The doors already had mortise locks checked into them, but they didn't seem to suit any available standard residential mortise locks, and the new mortise lock kits can get expensive pretty quickly. We did manage to find a nice mortise lock online that someone was selling cheap that they didn't want to use on their project, and it looked like it would probably suit our doors perfectly. Problem solved. Well, not quite. The lock didn't match the existing holes exactly, and it also didn't fit any standard French door rebate kits. So, as what usually happens when working with second-hand materials, the job suddenly became much bigger than expected. I ended up installing an extra piece of timber to build out the lock areas, and then I had to make my own custom rebate block for the French mortise lock. The existing hole's a bit tight, so I've got to chisel it out, make it work for the new mortise lock, drill the new holes, pack it out, put the striker on. So that's the plan this morning. This is the handle, that'll sit kind of like that. I'll give the front of the door a sand. I'll just chop this little piece of packing block out to match up with the French doors, give everything a sand, drill the new holes, make sure I sand all this nice and smooth before the lock goes on, and then yeah, back to square one. We should be able to get the lock on next half an hour or so. Using recycled doors or any recycled building material is always a bit of a balancing act. You want to preserve the character and give old materials a second life while still making everything functional without creating too many headaches. One thing I've learnt is that when working with recycled materials, you need to allow more time than what you'd originally think. Nothing is ever quite straight, square, or exactly the size you expect. But if you can make it work, the end result has a lot more character than buying something straight off the shelf. Hopefully it gives you a better idea of what's involved when you're working with second-hand materials and why these sorts of projects almost always take longer than what you expect. In the next video, I'll take you through the entire build step by step, including the drawings, measurements and techniques I used to build this custom timber French door frame with side lights from scratch. If you've got any questions or you've got a better way of tackling any of these challenges, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.